Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pullman Police Advisory Committee. I am Stephanie Rink, the chair. Welcome. We are going to go through roll call, starting with Dr. Macon.
David Macon.
Isabella Macon, Pullman High School rep.
Rocky Lucas, faculty rep.
Craig Watt, at large.
Eric Tetzoff, business community.
Angie Sender, WSU faculty staff.
Barbara Hammond, College Hill.
Welcome, everyone. Okay, next we're going to do the approval of the minutes from May 9th. Does anybody have any edits, questions, comments about them?
I move approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, we will pass. All right, a big round of applause that we have a wonderful presentation by Officer Shane Emerson. Welcome to the Advisory Committee. That's right, yep, well.
Are you related to Kip Stalkop? Oh, he was one of my favorite big brothers in high school growing up. So I am a Pullman kid. So I graduated 3 years after Kip, I think. So, yeah. Yep. Yeah, good guy. Awesome guy. Tell him I said hi. Sorry, thank you. I'm Shane Emerson, Pullman Police Department. Lived here my whole life for the most part, better part of 47 years, and I love it here. I grew up a little bit out in Albion where I learned to ride bikes. That's all we had to do out there, right? Jumping in ditches and doing jumps and stuff. So when I became an officer, one of the things that we were required to do back then was take bike training. And I loved it. I love riding bikes, so it was a good tool to get. The department doesn't mandate that officers take bike training now, but it is strongly encouraged. Our bike training is 4 days. I'm the bike instructor for the department. I went to a week-long bike training with an instructor from Seattle that came over here, Shams March. He is a Red Bull downhill biker. So he was jumping his bike up onto tables and doing stuff that I couldn't do on this. But it's good training for us to have. It's not just riding your bike and going straight all the time, right? Sometimes we have to ride downstairs, jump off docks, whatever. So we have to learn how to do that because it's not like you see in the movies. So we train officers how to do that. We ride along for a week. We go on long rides. We do skills tests. We're learning how to turn corners very slowly if you're riding through crowds, things like that. This bike here is an e-bike, electric assist bike. It's not like one of those bikes where you just sit on it and pull an accelerator and it goes. You have to pedal. But I rode this bike up Spring Street. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Spring Street over here. Less than 5 minutes. On a regular bike, that would take me easily 45 minutes. So it's very beneficial for us here in Pullman, right? We have a lot of hills that we have to go up on. These are used mainly on weekends up on Greek Row. We take these bikes up there. It's easier for us to contact people, right? When I was on foot patrol, that's the best. I love foot patrol. I do that every shift if I could, because you can contact people. When you're riding a regular bike and you're going up onto a curb, you don't just ride into it, right? You lift up and you have to go for back tires here. These bikes are a lot heavier. So when officers are riding and they're not doing their wheel lifts, we're hitting the curbs at full speed with the rear tire. We were caught with the front tire outside, but the rear tire is hitting it and it pops the tire because there's so much weight in the back end of that motor and the axle. So we've had to train officers how to do rear wheel lifts a little bit better so we're not going through tires as quick. But these batteries will last for a couple days easy. Especially now with the fuel being the way it is, it might be beneficial for more of us to be riding more often. But I love riding the bikes. There's quite a few, a few of us that really like riding them. Some officers don't care to go on the bike patrol. We've had officers get injured usually during training, because it's an intense training. And just crashing from here to there, you can hurt yourself pretty good. So that's why we do the training, so that we know how to avoid those incidents. The length of the rides. We try not to do, I try not to do super long rides, but we'll tend to ride we rode from Moscow to Troy and back one day, then we rode up to the top of Moscow Mountain and back one day, and that's the most intense part, I think, is getting people's legs and gluteus maximuses used to riding. The other part is riding downstairs. People aren't used to riding up the stairs and looking down there and riding down them. But if you get your motion right and that's what we're teaching them, is how to sit right on the bike so you're not flipping over it, and getting used to that fear, because somebody could be running and you can run right behind them going down the stairs. So things like that, I think, are what is hard for people to get over, is getting over that fear. Other questions?
Yeah, that bike doesn't have shocks, does it?
No.
Or does it in the front?
I think it has, yeah, the front shocks. There are some with rear shocks, but yeah, this one doesn't have the rear shocks. That would help definitely with the wheel getting smacked. I just bought a bike that has front and rear shocks, and I love it. I will never go back. But there's, like I said, there's some of us that really like riding and some that don't. So
So can you walk us through the advantages and disadvantages of a bike on a call?
taking the length of time to get there. But sometimes you can get through traffic easier than other officers can too. I like doing traffic with these because you can see stuff in people's cars. You can ride up right next to them, see they're on their cell phone, and go stop them downtown. But they take off. It's they're going 50, I'm going 30. That's where radio comes in. But doing traffic is a lot easier, I think, on these downtown, especially downtown Pullman. As far as going to calls, you know, it depends on where it's at in town, but you can more often than not get there just as quick as other officers can. They got to shut off their computers, get out of the office, get back in their car, and I'm already out on the road, so it's pretty beneficial. Other questions? I know there's, I didn't bring a lot to talk about, but it's pretty straightforward with, for me, how we use these and what we can do with them. This is Officer Patrick's bike. I call it his bike. He says it's not his bike, but he's claimed it. That's his cell phone holder for his pedals. So he likes to use this one. He really goes out a lot and rides bikes. He'll switch out the pedals and put on clipless pedals and change the seat out, but then he switches it right back at the end of the shift. We have another one that's a little bit bigger than this, but any of us can ride it. We do have regular bikes still. Nobody's going to ride those. Usually they have the option to ride these. So
Do you use them at night or just during daylight hours?
no, at night we'll use them. We have these are charged, but we have lights on the bike. These kind of have flash. I have a shoulder-mounted light bar I can wear that is really, really bright and will light up a whole alley. But you can see it. I just tap the button and it's red and blue lights flashing all over the place. So we will ride them at night. Usually when we're doing traffic, it's going to be during the day, especially at lunch hours, commute home hours, just to give people that good stop at the end of the day. So, but that's usually when we're going to be doing traffic emphasis is going to be during the day. When we're going out with crowds and stuff, that'll be at night. But we can ride it any time of day. Usually not in the winter, though.
Yeah.
Other questions?
How much does your bike weigh? Like 55, 60?
Yeah.
pounds?
It's pretty heavy. I think it has a carbon frame, but that motor just adds a ton of weight to it.
The batteries are really chunky.
Yeah. Yep, and B&L supplies them. We can take them in anytime and they'll fix them up for us, and and make them better again. Great business to help us out. But we teach them, officers, how to change tires out, fix chains if we need to. Usually if you bust a chain, it's from being on top of the hill anyway, so you can just ride down and fix it at the station. Because if you fix a chain, usually you're not fixing it to keep on riding. You're just fixing it to get back home because you're going to lose one of those links to connect it back up, that chain back up together. We can change tires out. That's pretty labor intensive as well to put new tubes in there, but we have tools. We show them how to change that stuff out and fix it. This is all stuff that we were taught at the bike instructor school. There's things you have to make sure that are good before the ride. Every office is like patrol cars, right? We share all patrol cars. So each bike has to be changed to what you like. This seat height might not be the same for officer people on the road, right? So you gotta make sure the seat's where you want it, the brakes work, the air's inflated as you want it. Yeah, pretty much brakes are not put on this. So there's lots of things we have to check, but make it yours for your shift.
So do you, is carrying the bike part of training over obstacles, stuff like that?
No, no. You'd be surprised at how well you can ride these things up things and over areas and stuff, but no, not running with it. Or when we used to train to be able to throw our bikes at people, right? You can jump off, roll it, and get to your gun or whatever you have to do. Use it as a tool, right? You saw this recently probably with the riots. This is what they want to pick up, where you pull it sideways like this, keep your people back, using this as a wall or a barrier for you to keep the crowd back. So when we have crowd control, these are very beneficial for us to be riding around the perimeter of a crowd and see where we need to address things, or helping out on a riot line, like I said, for pushing people back with the whole bike. So, any other questions? It is really hot in here. Is it really hot in here?
The handlebars look extra long. Are they, or is that just how they're looking from this angle?
I think
There's
it's,
extensions on them?
they're a little longer than mine are. I think it's the handle, the grips on there, add a little bit extra width to it. Megan? It really depends on staffing. Usually, we only have 2 bikes, so it'll just be 2 at the most usually that are on a bike. But I took this out a couple summers ago when we had a vehicle prowler at night. I came in and just rode my bike around town all night long and ended up finding him at 6:30 in the morning after I'd ridden all night, but he got away. But those kind of things that I think this is perfect for. Just that stealthiness. Other questions? Chief? Think of anything?
Well, you already mentioned we have other bikes, so
Mhm.
our plan is to phase in more electric bikes to replace our older bikes that now nobody likes to ride.
Yeah. If you had a choice between this and one of the other ones, I would definitely pick this. And you still get a workout even on this, right? You're still making that movement with the pedals. I think I feel guilty riding around and exercising and getting paid to do it for my shift, but it's awesome, man. It's one of the best parts of the job, I think, so.
Great. Are there any other last-minute questions?
Well, I appreciate your all's time and appreciate what you do. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Chief?
I think it's hot, especially when you're out on the street.
He needed his exercise.
See y'all later.
Bye.
Alrighty. So we have 2 officers are graduating this Wednesday from the Police Academy in Spokane, Eli Romanoff and Darren Romero. And then we have a 3rd officer in the academy in Burien, Abby St. Andre, who started May 3rd, and she'll graduate June 9th. So I think I reported this last time, but Abby will bring us up to 32 of our 33 sworn. We just did some interviews today on another round of police officer applicants, and haven't seen the scores yet, so we'll see how that went. We were working on a background of a lateral from Arizona that he ultimately failed the background, so that's why we did some more a round of interviews. Records, we now will be fully staffed as of July 1st. We're hiring Leslie Avery from recent recruitment that we had, so that will bring us back up to full staffing that we haven't had in a long time. We still have a vacancy in the technology specialist. The recruitment still is in progress. Our civil service examiner is reviewing the applications that we have to see how many meet the minimum qualifications and determine whether we'll do interviews for those or wait for more applicants. We are bringing on board a new chaplain. Our previous chaplain, Matt McNelly, decided to retire from being a chaplain. He had just too many things going on and didn't feel like he could devote enough time to being a chaplain. So I went out. I don't think that was me. I'm on silent. Anyway, so did some checking around and found a few people that are interested, and the person that currently has already been through background and is very interested. His name is C.J. Carrier. He is one of the pastors at Living Faith Fellowship, and so he's going to start with us actually on Wednesday after the academy graduation. The officers are going to come down to Pullman, and we're going to do an oath of office for them, and we'll do an oath of office for the new chaplain at the same time. As I previously reported, we did a presentation at the Pullman Islamic Center. That was on June 14th. Also presenting there was the Whitman County Prosecuting Attorney, the FBI out of Spokane, the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force in Eastern Washington, and the U.S. Attorney from the Civil Rights Division. And so it was really good presentations, very well received, and we're going to do some more follow-up with the Islamic Center regarding hate crimes and potential threats at the mosque. Commander Opgenorth graduates from the FBI National Academy this Thursday on June 9th, and he will be back with us later next week. And I think that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Is the chaplain a full-time position, or is that?
So it's completely, it's a volunteer position, and so he maintains his full-time employment, and he donates his time, much like our reserve officers. It's all donation of their time.
And just a curiosity question. So do we have more stringent standards in Arizona? You'd mentioned there's a possible lateral transfer that did not pass the background, but apparently he did in Arizona.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a matter of different standards. Sometimes when someone's hired, they engage in certain conduct that was unanticipated, and so that's what happens a lot of times when we look at laterals. And it wasn't necessarily the standards of the agency that hired them, but just some things that happened since they got hired.
Brady violation?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I was just curious. I've noticed some stuff going around next door and stuff about vehicle prowls or that kind of thing. Do you know
So
if that's been a big thing?
Yeah,
or?
it has been. We've had quite a few vehicle prowls over the past few weeks. And in fact, Shane arrested the person, I think it was this morning or it was within the last couple of days that we believe is responsible for all of them. So we're hoping we'll see an end to those. We're working on a search warrant right now to look for additional evidence, but it appears that this is likely the person that's been engaged in those.
Chief, I don't know if you shared with the group the recent grant that you received?
So there was, the Criminal Justice Training Commission sent out, so this was done kind of different than most grants. It was sent out instead of a grant offer, it was like a request for a proposal. And it was mainly for outreach. Is that right, Megan? It was, the proposal was asking for outreach to typically underrepresented parts of the community. So we actually, had been talking about working on a recruitment video for the police department. So Megan wrote the proposal that combines outreach and creating a recruitment video that would involve reaching out to underrepresented members of the community and using information that we collect from those groups to help develop a recruitment video that would reach all segments of the community. So we submitted Megan's proposal and we received the grant. We haven't received the official notification yet. I have to take it to City Council, but I have to wait to get that official notification. But we received the unofficial notification that we got the grant. So example of additional excellent work by Megan. Is that the grant you were talking about, Dave?
Great. Any other additional questions or comments? Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Next up, our constituencies poll. Does anybody have anything to add?
Say stuff. Let's go. You brought it into my opinion, so now. So obviously graduation was last week, which was amazing to see all the seniors graduate that like we've known since like freshman year or beforehand. It's kind of crazy to see that. The class of 2023 technically now is seniors, which is disheartening because I'm going to be a senior, but also it's a new chapter that we have to start looking at scholarships, we have to start looking at colleges, and over the summer, if anything, if anyone listens, I would suggest high school seniors next year should be writing their college essays, most definitely. That's probably the best thing for this summer. So that's all I have to say.
Great advice.
Nothing to report from at large.
It's quiet in Pullman. Do we have any public comment at this time?
Do you guys have any empty positions that you're looking to fill?
Let me flip over my sheet really quick.
Hey, Stumper.
We have a College Hill rep position open, I believe.
Yeah, she's not on College Hill, though.
I'm on the pool hill.
No, she's not on military out either.
We have, College Hill alternate, Pioneer Hill alternate, North Erie Hill, we don't have anybody from North Erie.
Well, at this time, we don't have anything that Melissa would qualify for. But we'd welcome you to come to every single meeting.
You got a job in the school district, you could.
I mean, I'm in a business college.
She's not allowed to be employed anywhere else other than with us.
Is she a faculty or staff?
She's staff.
Well, maybe Rocky could be a College Hill alternate or primary, and I could be the alternate.
I wouldn't mind to switch to College Hill alternate if it meant that she could have a spot with faculty staff. I could have been either one.
Yeah.
Well, so. So Darby was gonna get a hold of Peter because we haven't seen Peter, so it's possible we might have. Oh, that's.
Yeah. Well, solution though, that would that would work. So Melissa, how about we talk after and you can just fill out an application and then we can move forward with that. You'd have to have a very strict interview though with Chief and I.
Over at Red Card, right?
Absolutely.
So that means we do the background after that.
Okay. We will get back to you, Melissa. Thank you. Okay, so our next meeting is July 11th. That we will be talking about defensive tactics and use of force. Our meeting after that is August 8th, drones. I will not be present at that meeting as I will be hiking the wilds of Scotland. And I sadly will not be thinking of all of you while I'm hiking. So,
Oh, lass, can you tell us about it when you get back?
sure, I'll get right on whatever you just said. Yes, so Eric, you will be chairing that if you don't mind. And that is also the first meeting that our new chief will be presiding over the meeting, correct? Correct. All right. Anything additional for our meeting? All right, you guys have a lovely evening.